The winner 16-inch Dome League out here. Got a nice matchup tonight, Dummies versus Hex. Both teams have looked great in the early going, and this should be a quality matchup here. So Hex won the toss. They'll be home. Interesting thing in the co-ed ranks, Richie Battistoni has a tendency to always take the visitors. And one of his guys made the comment, "I don't even know you, Rich." So I thought that was kind of interesting. But anyways, so we got a good matchup here. We'll go through some quick rules here. All AstroTurf field, 210 down the lines, 235 to center. We do have a roof, and it does come into play. If the ball's hitting fair territory and it hits the roof, it is live. You can catch it before it hits the ground for an out. If it hits the carpet, it's all you can get. These are very short dimensions, smallest field that we'll play 16-inch on all year. So you only get 4 home runs, short fence, only about 3.5, 4 feet high. And anything that bounces over is a ground rule double. 60-foot bases, you can lead off, you can't steal. 38 from the rubber to home. Pitcher gets a drag step, 1 step left, right, or back. 2 fakes or hesitation, and the third arm action must be to deliver the ball to home plate. So leading off here is going to be Joey Gotw, and he swings and he drives it right at the short center. High throw, not in time. So Rory Okray caught it clean. Ball sailed on him, leadoff man on. So I believe they're playing 1-1 count in this league. You're seeing it correct, no gloves. 99% of what we do is no glove. Here's Marty Dozen. Of course, Joey Gotw won an MVP at the no glove a few years ago, playing for Flashback. And Marty Dozen pumps a hit toward right center. Joey will jog into third. Runners on the corner to start the game here for the Dummies. And these teams both have pretty good offenses, so it wouldn't surprise me if this is a high-scoring game. And trying to think if I left any rules out. We do use heavy bats up to 38 ounces, 34 inches long, and 2 1/4 on the barrel. So that's going to bring up Chris Rieger, and that's a ball, and that you can see grazed the roof, but it was a foul ball. And we were just out at the GoPro Dome. You can see this dome is a lot bigger. They got a whole nother field down there with the same dimensions down the right field line. Roof here, now that I look at it, might be a little lower, but not as steep along the side walls, so there's no overhang. And Rieger pumps one into right on. He can't make the catch. So Mike Oliver got back there, couldn't make the catch. Dozen had to wait to see if it was going to be caught. So he only gets the third on that. Stand-up double for Rieger as he hit it just over the head of Mike Oliver. So we got our first run of the ball game. Brings up Vito Iovino, another Flashback guy. Vito takes that ball a little deep. So we got a game chock full of major players here. And there's a bullet. Rory on his knees. Now they got Rieger hung up at a high throw. And 2 runs are going to score on the play. And on the overthrow to third, Vito takes second. So the Dummies have come out here. And if you're Brian Sloan, the pitcher right now, you're got 2 balls hit to your short center, and you couldn't grab an out. Couldn't grab an out, I should say. So there's still nobody out, and it brings up Michael Angie. Mike, of course, with the circus crew. Mike, one of the best 2-way players in softball. Also a member of the Chicago Fire Department. So here's Mike. He slaps it on the ground to the shortstop. Scahill makes that play, and that'll be the first out. And Vito could not advance. And that's good base running by Vito. That ball was hit in front of him, and you really don't want to go. Rieger caught a break when he went to third from second on that ball hit to Rory, the short center. Had Rory's throw been on target, he would have been dead meat. So here's Lenny Gonzalo. And there's a hard ground ball. Sloan gets a foot on it, recovers and makes the play for out number 2. Of course, Lenny is one of the sauce guys that are coming over to this Hex team this year, along with the pitcher Brian Sloan, Mikey Oliver out in center, second baseman Tommy Cortlett. And there's a high pop-up off the wall, but tracking it was Scahill, and he makes the catch. But in the inning, they push 3 across, and we'll head to the bottom of the first inning, 3-0. So Ray Sekas pops up off the wall to end the inning. Coming up for Hex, it's going to be Curtis Ostrom, Rob Scahill, Al Rice. Anybody gets on, Mark Holstein. So we anticipate. Oh, I'm sorry, Inc. That's right. Thanks for the correction, Brandon. He came over with Frank Jekyll from Inc. And Hex has had that history where they put together good teams, but they seems like every year they lose a couple of guys, and every year they reload. They didn't quite have the year they wanted to last year. They showed some flashes, but never really put it together for the entire summer. Talking to Al Rice, and here's Curtis, and that's going to be foul off the sidewall. When I was out at McKinley Park earlier in the fall, he said the guys on Hex were pretty excited with the new guys they picked up because they're all high in attendance and high motors. And there's a swing and a ground ball. Rieger sucks it up, and that's the first out of the inning. So here's Rob Scahill. It looked like So this league is kind of chugging along. I believe they're going to have games out here next week, but a change in the scheduling. This is normally a Tuesday, Wednesday, but with the holiday, looks like they... And there's a little flare, didn't hit it great off the end of the bat, but he dumps it into right center. First hit of the game for Hex. They don't have any Wednesday games, but they have a Monday game. So here's Al Rice. I'm not sure what boards you're talking about, Amalia, in left center. Unless they're on the other side of the fence, I can't see them right now. And Al launches one, and we're all tied at 3. Or 2. So 2-run bomb for Al Rice. And that was a no-doubter. That's the first home run. And we talk all the time, when you only get 4 dingers, you want to be judicious with them. You don't want to hit solo bombs. You want to at least have a runner or 2 on base. And here's Holstein, hard ground ball the other way. Alonji, pitch and catch over to Joey Agardo, playing first base tonight. Of course, Joe, one of our better shortstops. Mike Alonji can pretty much play anywhere. Brings up Mike Greco. So Hex with a little bit of an answer here, putting 2 quick ones on the board. And there's a flip shot the other way. It's going to be way foul. This is the left fielder was playing way over off the line. Marty Dozen couldn't get there. Mike Greco's turning out to be a pretty solid first baseman. And he's getting a little better every year. There he dumps it toward the gap, and nice catch by the center fielder, Chuck Regaldo. That ball looked like it got hit off the end of the bat, had a little top spin and was dying. And Chuck got there and had to make a tumbling catch. And because it was into right center, he couldn't really slide under it. So he had to reach out and caught it about 7-8 inches above the ground and went into a soft tumble. Nicely done. So at the end of one complete, 3-2, we head to the top of the second. And that's going to bring up Jack McLaughlin. Will be followed by Brian Sherwin and then Chuck Regaldo. Oh, I think I see what you see on the back of the bleachers. They do have big signs that denote the field number. And they do have some sponsorship signs, and there's a ground ball as Jack drives it up the middle for a base hit. They do have various sponsorship signs that you can't see from the field that are in between the diamonds, and I'll try to talk to Frank and see if we can't get maybe some updated standings, and we'll try to get those up for you guys. So here's Brian Sherwin now, 1 on, nobody out. Still early in this one, top of the second. And Brian, a little cut effort, that's going to be well out of play. So we did get some news. Intentional Sports should be hopefully starting up around Friday, December 6th. And we'll get out there for opening night for sure. And Turkey Bowl coming up next week, so we're going to have a lot of softball for you. That, of course, fundraiser. And there's a hard ground ball, and it sneaks through. Looked like Scahill might have got a hand on it, but he looked like as he was reaching, the ball might have taken one of those second bounce skips on him, which happens on turf. And he stumbled just a little bit. So runners on the corner now, nobody out for Chuck Regaldo. And the first game that we did this winter session here for the dummies, they swung it real good as they beat up, I believe they played Iron that day. And Chuck, a little ground ball to second, and that's going to sneak through. Another run scores. Sherwin will get to third. Second baseman just couldn't get to it. For a split second, it looked like it might have been a potential double play ball, but Tommy Cortlett couldn't get there, and it's Frank Shaquille now. Thank you, Kristen, for the kind words. So the dummies might have the best offense in this Dome League. At least it sure looks like that early. And there's a hard ground ball. Scahill goes home, and he does prevent the run from scoring. Rob kind of short-hopped that throw, and he's got a cannon. Richie Battistoni couldn't scoop it off the turf, and that allowed Sherwin to get back to third. Bases loaded. And there's a pickoff attempt. Brian Sloan fooled me. It was right on the money. They had Chuck. But Rory couldn't handle it as the throw kind of was rolling in there. And here's Joey Gotw. Infield hit his last time up.
Come on, Joey.
So dummies set up here for a potential big inning with one in and the bases loaded, nobody out. And Joey, high fly ball, it'll score at least one. Curtis will make the play, and he goes to third, and he holds Chuck Regaldo. And that's a good example now. Curtis has been around a long time, and he's aware of what here's Marty Dozen, is aware of what his capabilities are. And Chuck, who knows Curtis, didn't want to challenge the arm. And there's a long one. And that's going to be well out of here. 3-run homer for Marty Dozen opposite field. And we got ourselves an 8-2 game. And that'll clear the bases, and we'll see if that's a rally killer. Brings up Chris Rieger. I encourage you all to hang in there and not think the game is a blowout, because with the ability of some of these big, strong hitters to do just that, scores do change out here. But the dummies have been relentless in the 2 games that I've done offensively. And Chris Rieger tried to flip the line, no can do, as it drifted foul. You never want to get into the doghouse. And there's a fly ball to center. Cruising over is Brandon Bartleman, and he makes the catch for out number 2.
All over here.
Yeah, that was a weird championship game at the GoPro Dome. Both of the teams that were in the finals have been scoring a lot of runs, and Vito hits a fly ball. But in the inning, dummies put up a fin. They lead 8-2. And you really didn't expect the game to be 3-2. I think after, I want to say, the top of the second, nobody scored in that game. And it looked like there were going to be more runs than that, but settled in. Both teams played good defense. And even though it was a little mini tournament, guys really want to play and win, and who knows, maybe there was a little pressure that some of those guys felt. They were, younger teams. Goodwood was in the championship game, and against Los Barachos, and Goodwood was defending champs, so kind of an odd final there. Here's Brian Sloan, the pitcher, and Brian hits a soft little cut, and that's going to be handled easily by Alonji.
Come on, Rory. Come on, Rory. I didn't you out, kid.
That's going to bring up Rory Okray.
Come on, Ed. Come on, Rory.
I did not see Sister Carly or her father here tonight, unless they snuck in late. They usually tune in, or very supportive of each of the kids as their dad. So there's a one-out walk, and it brings up Richie Battistoni. Now, Richie's got enough pop to get out of here. They already got a 2-run homer, and I'm not sure you necessarily want to. And Richie's not going to scrape the roof, and Dozen gets there. So he made a sliding catch. Had a long way to go. That ball got right up by the roof, but never touched it. And Marty Dozen, one of our rising stars, covering a lot of ground, making a nifty catch. So here's Brandon Bartleman. I was trying to figure out Brandon's last name and was kind enough to come up to me and turn his back. He's got his name on his jersey. So that was pretty easy. He's a new face. And there's another walk. So that's good thinking on the part of Hex trying to get base runners. Here's Tommy Cortlett. Now you're in the territory where if somebody wanted to gas one, you would take it. It's really not Tommy's game, but the on-deck hitter, Anthony, the extra hitter, big, strong-looking dude.
On the swing.
And Tommy, a little short hopper, nicely done there by the second baseman, Jack McLaughlin. As he sat on it, stayed low, and made it look easy. So little threat there with the back, with the two walks, but they can't do anything with it. And we'll head to the top of the third, and if you're Hex right now, you're desperate to get a goose egg. So I've been kidding Manny Sanchez about the Turkey Bowl, and I looked at the long-range forecast. It's supposed to be in the 30s with snow. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll see if maybe that can't clear up and warm up a little bit before we get to next Thursday. We are in Chicago, so an 8-day forecast doesn't mean a whole lot. Alonji hits it high and deep, and going back is Brandon. Little semi-jump right in front of the fence, and he makes the catch. So here's Lenny Gonzalo, and he strokes it into right field in front of Mikey Oliver for a one-out single. Brings up Ray Sekas. Again, Hex really needs a goose egg here so they can catch their breath a little bit. And Ray hits a high fly ball. It's going to stay in the park. Brandon another catch, and the lefty fires it in. No tag. So 2 outs now for Jack McLaughlin. Drove a hit up the middle his last time up on the ground. And there he hits it hard, but right at Cortlett, who makes the play. So Hex gets what they needed there. They get the goose egg. And we'll head to the bottom of the third, 8-2. So we're glad you joined us. If you're in the Chicago area, it was one of those days today with light snow showers. Nothing was really sticking. The ground a little too warm for that. But just kind of a depressing type of day out here, a little on the damp side and cold, but very pleasant here in the dome.
Right here.
So here's the extra hitter, Anthony. Hex is hitting 12. Mikey Oliver on deck, and then back to the top, and Curtis Ostrom. Well, we've been hiding in Chicago. We're in the latter half of November here, and couldn't really complain about our fall or weather here up to this point. And the Hex players now, they're picking up a little bit on the fact that Chris Rieger, the home plate, jumping around on him, his third walk in the last inning plus, and it brings up Mikey Oliver.
You're good.
Of course, Greg has become a regular watcher of the streams, and they are certainly starting to take more pitches here.
Okay. Maybe heads up, Tom.
And Mikey, a little ground ball over to Alonji, got it to Vito. Mikey Oliver, an outfielder who can fly, beat the relay. So they'll settle for the fielder's choice. And it brings up Curtis. So good speed aboard here, 1 out. You got the road graders coming up. So if you're Curtis and Rob, you'd like to get on for Al. And there's a little hard ground ball, and McLaughlin bobbles it. Ball jumped up, second hop. And now you're in home run territory here. I think if you're Hex, ideally, you'd like to see Scale get a hit and then maybe have Al lose one. You could make this an 8-6 ball game. Rob, big pop as well. This park is... And there's a bullet into right. One run's going to score. Ostrom easily to third. And it's an 8-3 ball game. So a 3-run bomb here would make it 8-6.
Let's go out.
With Holstein on deck. And again, the softball here in the dome is a little unique in the sense that the dimensions are so short that a lot of leads ain't safe. And Al just smokes this. Alonji to McLaughlin, and they turn the double play. So Al was trying to go big. Front shoulder looked like he came out a little bit. He topped it. Alonji slick feed to McLaughlin. Short center, Vito couldn't get there. He was playing Al to pull all the way. And as a result of that, McLaughlin, though, nifty turn. Pitcher's best friend showing up just in time for Chris Rieger. So let's put that in the memory banks, as that was a golden opportunity there. Can't blame Al for trying to go yard there. But Al is so strong, he doesn't necessarily have to pull it to hit it out of here. And he just got a little bit anxious and flew open on it. So Brian Sherwin, Chuck Regaldo, and Frank Shaquille coming up 9, 10, and 11. Going to give you guys a teaser. We might have some interesting news for you guys next week on that, on the live streaming. And there's a swing, and he hits it into the alley. Easy stand-up double as he threw it out there. Nice job by Oliver to cut it off and prevent it from going to the fence. Saved what could have been a triple there. Here's Chuck Regaldo. And this is the part of the order where if you're Hex, you kind of wanted to try to get through and grab yourself another egg, as we're in the top of the fourth here. And there's a bullet base hit, same alley. Oliver can't cut it off. It'll roll to the wall. And Chuck Regaldo has a stand-up triple. So Mikey Oliver got there, got a hand on it. Ball had a little pace on it, to say the least. And now with nobody out here, if you're Frank Shaquille here, you want to go for a hit. Tries the hard cut, and just fouled down that left field line. But he needs to go for a hit here. You're up 6, and there's nobody out. So you don't want to see Frank give himself up here. You want to try to roll up a big inning. You do have your top coming up. And if you can't get the job done, then it'll fall on Joey Gotw. And there's a swing, and Frank is going to get that into left center. Run scores. Frank cruising to third. The throw not in time and high. So another triple. Dummies add yet another run, and there is still nobody out as their top is coming up. Now Joey Gotw is in the same position Frank was. He's not up there about giving himself up. And they're going to change pitchers, and they're going to bring in the best-looking guy in softball, Joey Carbs. And Joey Gotw and Rory Okray can't make the catch. He jumped in the air, and he let the ball get into his midsection. I don't think he had a jump necessarily. Now there's runners on the corner, and Marty Dozen's already got a 3-run homer, and we'll see if he tries to go for a kill shot and tries to gas another one out of here. And there he just humpbacks it, another run scores. And Joey Gotw will stop at second. And it brings up Chris Rieger. So the dummy's going to be a problem. We said that in the last broadcast. Well, if I hear of any, Greg, I'll let you know. Periodically, there's a high fly ball. And that's caught by Brandon. A little slip, but he gets it into Scahill. Both runners tag in advance. So that is the first out of the inning, and it brings up Vito. Certainly try to put you in touch. And if there is an overnight tournament, either up here or if I hear one, I'll let you know. And there's a sky high, did not hit the roof. Another run is going to score, 12-3. So 2 outs now, brings up Michael Angie. I believe they do have a mercy rule here. And if you are Hex, you got to be cognizant of that. They would have to play through the bottom of the 5th. So the pressure is going to be on Hex too. And there's a ground ball. Tommy Cortlett stays with it. Alonji didn't even run. But we're going to head now halfway through 12-3. So I had turned my head. I don't know if Michaelangi slipped out of the box. But when we kind of looked back to first on the throw, he wasn't running. Well, I like what the dummies are doing. I mean, they got the 3-run bomb from Marty Dozen. And other than that, they've just been hitting line drives all over the field, which is pretty much what they did the other day. Here's Mark Holstein. And Mark swings. Looked like he quite didn't get the full-on barrel to the ball. It looked like he was pulling his hands in there. Looked like he was trying to hit that more toward left center. So here's Mike Greco. And Mike delivers another base hit. So that's going to bring up Brian Sloan now.
Hey, beat people, let's go!
And if you're Hex, you just got to string some hits together. Try to make sure you buy yourself a little time. And there's a little flare, but coming in is Brian Sherwin. Throw back, not in time. Frank Shaquille was moving to back it up from his catcher position. So, a little hard out. And Brian Sherwin, we're used to seeing Brian play left field. And, you know, I talk all the time, you know, there are guys that are underrated. And he is an underrated outfielder. Here's Rory, and Rory goes out there, and Brian has it easily for the third out. So we're going to head now to the top of the fifth, 12-3. And, you know, Brian, a little older than people think. But right now, I would change ages with him if I could. No, I would not want him to be an old man. But he's a guy you look at, and he does not have a lot of wasted movement in what he does. And a lot of times you look at him and you're like, you know, he's not fast enough. But he gets terrific jumps, good angles. He gets to everything. He knows most of the hitters. And he is a very, I think, undervalued as a hitter. Because when he was with Chicago Dynasty, we saw him get a ton of big hits. So here's Lenny leading off. And he strokes a base hit. No, you can't, Matt. I mean, if you're going to start a softball team today, you'd like to start with 3 good outfielders, because at the major level, here's Ray Sekas, you cannot win if you don't got kids that can go get the ball. And, you know, then you want to make sure you had a good shortstop, a good short center. If you have a good pitcher, you're going to win some games. So here's Sekas. He goes big and deep, and that ball is going to be out, caught by a fan out there. So Lenny goes deep, 2-run shot, and it's now 14-3. So Hex just has not had any opportunity to breathe in this game. And here's McLaughlin, and now Al Rice a little bobble. And right now, this Hex team looks like they're just a little shell-shocked. Brings up Brian Sherwin. So since Al Rice grounded out to end that inning, the dummies, after going dry in one inning, have come right back, and they're back to their usual tricks. So they have an 11-run lead. Hex will need to score at least 2 to keep the game going in the bottom of the fifth. And they'll have Richie Battistoni, Brandon Bartleman, and Tommy Cortlett coming up. And there's a hard ground ball, Scahill to Rory, and they turn the double play, and that'll be 2 outs. So here comes Chuck Regaldo and Brian Sherwin, who had been hitting the ball good, subject of the Malouk, after I praised them. And there's a rocket base hit, and that's up the alley. Chuck, who's already got the triple, now has a double. I don't know if this game will go 7, but he got the 2 tough hits for the cycle. Just needs a single and a home run. Could be the first cycle in dummy history. So here comes Frank Shaquille. And I tell you, this dummies team, and Frank swings through that. And Frank is going to hear a little bit about that after the game for sure. Guys will give you the business. And you know, sometimes when you do that as a hitter, then you're just worried about making contact. And there's a ground ball. So do or die, bottom of the 5th, 14-3. It's been all dummies.
Reggie, Brandon, Tommy, Anthony, Mikey.
Hey, man, I don't know if Drew's coming back to money line, but I haven't talked to Victor in a while. Do you got any updates on how he's doing by chance? Of course, I had the pleasure of having Drew for a couple of years with my Mudville teams. Okay, well, I was just wondering if you still was having any contact with him. I always thought all Drew needed was a little experience, and he was really coming into his own. And correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but if I'm not mistaken, before he got hurt, he was leading off for you guys last year. And that's a big man to be leading off. Battistoni! Rough hop. Lenny from the seat of his pants can't make the play. That ball took a wicked hop. That might have hit him up in the jaw area. Lenny, a tough kid, though. So 1 out base runner. Here's Brandon. Again, they need 2 runs to keep the game going. Tommy Cortlet on deck. Haven't seen enough of Brandon to know if he's got enough pop. Certainly not on that swing. And Rory, the courtesy runner, thought about going, but down by 11, no shot. So they're down to the last out here. Yeah, Drew is a great kid, great family. I like Ian too. And that ball fades. Of course, Ian got a big hit, if I'm not mistaken, in your kickoff tournament, as he hit a walk-off sinking line drive into left center that bounced over, I think, Marty. And I think he also hurt his shoulder in that game because I really didn't see him much in the outfield. And Tommy Cortlet, nobody covering second. They might have had a fielder's choice. And here comes the big AEH, Anthony. And a long one here could extend the game. With Mikey Oliver on deck. Grabs a strike there. And that's a little spinner, and that's going to be a strikeout. So that's the second out. Sorry, I missed an out somewhere.
Hey, pick me up, 20. Hey, 2. Contact, boys.
So Mikey Oliver here. And Mikey goes high. Long run for Chuck, and he gets there just in front of the fence. And that should do it, if I'm not mistaken, as the teams will line up here. Dummies, I think, firmly the favorite in this Winter Dome League. Signature is in the mix as well. Signature looked pretty good when we had them in a game earlier in this session. but dummies and signatures, certainly two teams with what I like to call big boy offenses. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. I got to take care of a little business pertaining to my teaser that I gave you guys earlier about maybe some streaming news coming up. And going to try to beat this nasty weather home before everything freezes up. So on behalf of the SSA, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for your support. We love you.